And welcome to Paper of the Week, my favourite time of the week. It's a fantastic Thursday afternoon, and we're going to be talking about snotty noses. Yes, snotty noses, otherwise known as hay fever, or as the paper titles it, allergic rhinitis. Rhino means nose, and so you might know, of course, rhino has got the big nose on it, of course, and you might have heard of other things like the rhinovirus, which is the virus that lives up your nose, very common cause of the common cold. Different to the influenza virus, but that's where rhino comes in. So today, the paper of the week is a review paper called The Complex Pathophysiology of Allergic Rhinitis, Scientific Rationale for the Development of an Alternative Treatment Option. Now, why do we want an alternative treatment option? Well, to answer that question is that we have to explain what causes allergic rhinitis. Now, a lot of people think it's an allergy to the environment, and it is. That is one of the causes to allergic rhinitis. But I could be sitting in a room with someone and they could get a snotty nose, breathe in the same stuff as me, and I may not get this snotty nose. So the thing is, it's actually specific to the individual. So if the individual has an allergic propensity, then they will get allergic rhinitis, but other people don't. So it's not exactly the causative agent is not the pollen, for example, or the cat hair. It's how the person reacts to it. Now, how do we treat it medically now? Well, the most common way of treating it is with an antihistamine. And there are many classes of antihistamines. The very powerful ones were the ones that were developed in the 60s, and they were great for reducing histamine. But what they do is that they cross the blood-brain barrier, get into your brain, and of course, when antihistamines get in your brain, it reduces histamine in your brain, and that causes you to become sleepy. So you'll see a lot of these antihistamines get into the brain and put you to sleep. In fact, the modern sleeping tablets you get from the pharmacist can be antihistamines. Now, there's ones, they don't need to be prescribed either. You can get, they're an S3 poison, so you can get them from the pharmacy. They're very powerful antihistamines. Now, the newer type of antihistamines don't cross the blood-brain barrier, and they're called the non-drowsy antihistamines, and they're commonly throughout every pharmacy under the planet. Now, the way that allergic rhinitis works is that when you breathe in this pollen, your body reacts to it as a foreign antigen, and your mast cells, which are cells inside your nostrils and your lungs and everywhere, but they degranulate and release histamine. And histamine causes vasodilation, which dilates the blood vessels in your nose, which causes it to seep. And you seep out all this mucus, and that's where you get that lovely mucus that we all know with allergic rhinitis that affects the eyes as well. So the idea is that your body's detected as something very foreign, so your body, immediately tries to flush it out again. So that's where it comes from. Now, the million-dollar question is, why does it affect person A but not person B? Well, that's because person A, the person with the allergy, may have an elevated level of a type of T helper cell called T helper 2. And if you've got too much T helper 2 cells in your body, you release too much IgE, and IgE binds to these mast cells to degranulate them to release this histamine. So you've got these two main parts of the immune system, T helper 1 and T helper 2. If T helper 2 is high, then that's the allergic scenario. If T helper 1 is high, then that can cause autoimmune diseases. And there's other T helpers like T helper 17, which is elevated in types of arthritis like the one I used to have called ankylosing spondylitis. And we've got to do a video on that, just reminding myself. So anyway, the reason why we need a new treatment for this is simply because histamine is only one of the chemicals that are released. There are other chemicals here, and I'm going to show you a little diagram here. And these are called the leukotrienes. And one of the more common one is leukotriene B4. We're going to get a great magic of this process here. And if you can see here, this is the nose, and it degranulates, releases histamine and binds the receptor, which causes allergies. And then you've got the leukotrienes being released as well. So there's double release of these things, and that's highly problematic. Now, just looking at this here, we go, okay, well, this is all wonderful, Steve. They're going to get a new drug to block this and that at the same time, which is great. Not just histamine, but the other chemical, much more effective. What natural medicine does is very, very different to that. We work right back here to where this T helper 2 is, and we balance the T helper 1 and T helper 2 because most of your immune system hangs out in your digestive tract. So if you can get your gut microbiome right, you can balance your T helper 1 and T helper 2, and you may not be allergic in future. One of our great products for that, of course, is Gut Right. Another one, of course, is Resilience, which is a terrific one for normalising the immune system as well. So we've got two great products which can be used instead of that, which actually typically don't target the nose. So there's two ways of looking at it. Now, I'm a big fan of, treating the cause of things, but also I'm a big fan of getting rid of symptoms. So there are these nasal corticosteroid sprays, which are terrible long-term, but acutely you can get, again, it's an S3, so you can get it from your pharmacist. You don't need the doctor's script for it, and that can help too. But I would much rather go back and treat the allergy at the cause and not just, treat the symptoms with an antihistamine. But we're going to keep our eye on this because, hay fever is a huge illness out there, and I think we need to treat the cause of why people are allergic in the first place instead of giving them topical treatments or just pills to mask the symptoms. And that's going back to normalise the immune system, and that goes back to the gut and products like Resilience. Well, this has been a fun paper of the week, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.